Hey guys, welcome back to the Wellness Hustle with your host, Dr. Campbell. I'd like to thank you guys for following us. Thank you guys for subscribing, liking, sharing your comments, and following the stories. Tell me that you haven't been intrigued by the stories that you have been watching, the clips that you have been seeing. When I tell you we have been uncovering some life-changing moments, and today is none other. We have one of the leading attorneys here in Georgia who is just blazing a trail, young, ambitious, but building and grinding. Please help me to welcome Attorney Karell.
All right.
Welcome, my guy.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, man. So, dude, it's been, how long have I known you? It's been like, what, a couple, months now, right? Or a year now?
It's been like a year now.
A year, yeah.
Yeah, we met before the gym. I think we ran across each other.
We
but
did.
I see you at the gym quite frequently.
So I can recall, I think I was in Vegas, and I was operating that day, and I got a call. Interesting call. There was a call about a reality show that was being talked about, discussing sort of, the collaboration of legal and medical in the personal injury space, kind of shining a light on what doctors do and what attorneys do to sort of dispel the myths that are out there. And someone recommended me for this show, and on that team of people that were on the call was Attorney Karell. And I remember after he spoke, I was like, I want to connect with that dude. His energy was just absolutely amazing. I was like, who is that guy? And so when I did come back to Atlanta and we finally met, I'm like, no, I know, man. I'm really, really, really impressed. I connected the person with the voice and the energy all matched. And so from that point, I said, you know what? Whatever he's doing, I think there's going to be some sort of area space for us to collaborate, because I think from what we spoke about, we both resonated with our care model, what you do for your clients when you're treating when you're representing your clients, and what I was doing from a medical standpoint as I was providing the treatment and the care. I think we both concluded that above all, it was client first. Above all, our goal is to make sure that we protect and take care of the interests of our clients. How did you start your law firm?
Yeah, no, absolutely. First of all, I haven't quite given up on that reality show.
Oh, really?
Yet. No, I'm still somewhat in talks.
Let's do it.
Why not? Yeah.
Hey, look, man. So I'm down. I'm still 100% down. So we need to really put the pieces together, button this up, because I really believe that there is still this myth around, or not, this misunderstanding with attorneys and doctors and what we're trying to really do as we manage these injured patients back to functionality and help them get some sort of recovery, that barely even approximates the extent of what they have experienced or what they'll suffer for the rest of their lives. And dealing with these people that are discussing whether it's the unethical collaboration, but what they're not seeing is that these are real people, real injuries, and they're suffering. And sometimes the things that we do only barely comes close to what we can truly do to really get them back to, if at all, because at times we can't.
Oh, 100%.
And they're living with in these conditions or these changes for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, no, people see us as, they're just greedy attorneys or greedy doctors trying to, scam the system, only until they get injured and they realize that the insurance company is going to screw you
That's
over.
correct.
I tell people all the time, I wouldn't have a job
Right.
if the insurance companies just did the right thing and treated people fairly.
Yeah.
However, we make a good living. My practice is growing only due to the insurance company being so greedy and so unfair to, the people that pay their policies. So I take pride in what I do. And I have this conversation frequently. People say, oh, you're just an ambulance chaser. No. I'm in the business of helping people.
Yeah.
We are doing the Lord's work. We are fighting the big guy. We are fighting Goliaths. We're little Davids out there, because these insurance companies have billions and their profits are doing nothing but going up. And yet we get the bad name only until people get injured.
Guys, when I tell you that was the same passion, that was the same, and it's dimmed down now. On the phone, I was like, oh my goodness. whoever this man is, I want to be in his company. I want to, be with him, be on his team, because certainly we need people who are passionate about what you're trying to do, about helping people, about, fighting for people who can't fight for themselves. Let me share a quick story with you before we dive into your story a little bit. So there was a insurance defense attorney that I treated in Las Vegas. He was a attorney, then became a judge, and he was more so on, all injuries are pre-existing. That was his, and it's all mentally fabricated and it's not real. And it so happens that he was in a bad work-related accident. He had several herniated discs in his lumbar spine. He came to see me after he had chiropractic treatment, which didn't really take away the pain because the disc problems were significant. He was having some compression on nerves. And so he said, I'm not here for drugs. I'm not here for injections. I just want to be fixed. I said, well, I'm looking at something structural. So given that you've had conservative care, let me try an injection. He was so opposed to it. But ultimately, after like 3 months of delaying, the pain got so bad that he eventually tried an injection. He gave him only temporary benefit. So then he now had to confront the scary idea of, I may require surgical intervention. And he did get surgery ultimately. Now his perspective, having gone through the system and seen the delays in approval, the delays in sort of, in the treatment that he needs to get, and he's now angry, he's bitter with the system because of how he was treated. And I told him, I said, this is what those clients that you have spoken against all these years, this is the exact same thing that they go through day in, day out. And you're here psychologically depressed. You're not working anymore in your capacity. You can barely walk. But now is when you're truly understanding the suffering of these people. Sometimes, believe it or not, those things, as bad as they sound, they sometimes have to happen for people to realize that these are real people, real injuries, and their lives are now changed forever.
Absolutely. And I hate that it had to be that. I wouldn't wish this stuff on anybody.
On nobody.
I hate what my clients have to go through. I have some of my staff members have gone through it. I've been lucky. I have yet to go through it, but I see it day in and day out. And I would not wish this on anybody. And I hate that it took that much. There are some things out of our control.
Yeah.
I just wish everybody had a little more compassion and a little more belief in fellow individuals and not think that everybody's trying to lie, cheat, and steal from them.
Thank you, man. So how did you get to law? Have you always wanted to be a lawyer?
No. So actually, I grew up, both my parents were 100% disabled veterans. So I witnessed firsthand people having issues. They struggled with the VA. The VA gave them a hard time about everything that they, every
treatment,
everything that they
challenge,
needed, even
access,
like the devices that they would require.
Yeah,
it was fighting tooth and nail, and so I saw that. I always wanted to help people. Initially, I thought I would just follow the family business, so to speak, and get in the military.
Yeah.
I graduated college, and unfortunately, I might have had a little too much fun as a youth and made some poor decisions. And so they didn't want me to go officer school.
That route, yeah.
And so I said, you know what? How can I help people? How can I make a difference? And it was the law. And initially, I thought that I was going to do criminal defense. That's how I was going to help people, because I don't want to go the VA route. That's too close to home. I'd get too emotional. And I understand. If you're too close to something, you need to just take a step back.
Absolutely.
But I did my first summer at the public defender's office here in Fulton County, and there's a huge need. There's a big need for people defending these indigent clients. But man, it was not for me. Like the resources and I couldn't work this hard to to have the passion to do what I do. You would just get swallowed up by the system.
Absolutely.
And so I then, with seeing what my parents went through, how can I best help people? I want to do personal injury and make a difference in individuals' lives. And that's what we do. I'm very proud of the work at Karell Trial Attorneys. I've been practicing coming up on 9 years as an attorney. Worked at a couple law firms. I was telling one of the individuals in here, I actually started my practice because I saw the way that my previous firm was doing things, and I did not like it.
Gotcha.
I straight up, we were putting profits over people.
Yeah.
And that's very common, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but it's not everybody. But they sent an employment satisfaction survey out. I told them the truth. Shortly thereafter, I started Karell Trial Attorneys. And so we're coming up on our 4th year with Karell Trial Attorneys. And as you stated, we've grown tremendously. We got 13 people total, 3 attorneys, in just 4 short years. We bought a building here in Buckhead.
Yeah.
And I attribute all that to simply doing the right thing and helping people.
You know what? That's a great, way to, because I was about to ask you, the success that you've seen, and what do you think that has attributed to that success? Of course, doing the right thing, that's paramount in helping people. But what additional features and factors you believe that might have contributed to the success that you guys have received in such a short time? Because there are several attorneys that have been around for many more years, and I talked to a lot of them, and their growth doesn't seem to be on the same trajectory.
Well, it also comes with the work we do. We specialize in litigation work, which a lot of attorneys, believe it or not, don't necessarily do. You'd be surprised the amount of attorneys out there that don't like to go to court, don't want to go to court, and don't go to court. Our bread and butter is actually assisting other attorneys who get a low offer, because initially, the individual gets hurt, they go through the claims process, send a demand, low ball offer comes back. A lot of attorneys will say, well, this is your number, take it or leave it. We come in with a third option. That third option is litigation work. So we take a lot of cases from other attorneys and put it in suit. We'll say, we'll review it, say, you know what, we're going to file suit. And those insurance companies know who files suit, who's not afraid to take cases to trial, and their offers will reflect.
Gotcha.
Even the cases that we take in initially, we'll get it for suit, but we'll send a renewed demand because they know a suit's going to come shortly thereafter, and they'll tender a policy.
Yeah.
They'll tender the policy. And so it's really the work that we do, and also just not willing to take crap from these insurance carriers, because we don't need the money. There's a lot of people out there do, that they need the money, and so they're going to strong arm somebody. We're not afraid to take it to trial, which could take 2-3 years.
Gotcha.
And we front those expenses. But, the work that we do, and I will also attribute that I'm not going to say I've gotten lucky, but I think being a good person out in everything you do.
Yeah.
In everything you do. When I was at a previous firm, I was nice to a legal assistant, and down the road, she ended up putting me on with a firm that we do a lot of work with, because she saw that, I was nice to her.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember the interactions we've had, but she saw enough in me. And so I think just being a good person will put you in good situations, even if it is not, instant gratification.
Right.
Just doing the right thing, treating people fairly, working hard, and just again, being a good person to everyone around you.
Tell me about your team. Tell me about the team because certainly you could not have done this on your own.
Oh, absolutely not. No,
So tell me about
I
your team.
attribute darn near all of my success to my team.
I do want to hear about your team. How have you cultivated and built this team that you're now, that's now collaborating as you guys build and scale your practice?
So this is another unique feature of Karell Trial Attorneys. Out of the 12 others than myself, 9 of us, nine others, nine of the 12 other than myself have worked with me in some form or fashion in the past.
Wow.
We've worked together. I trust them. We know each other. They know me. And they chose, in the short time we had to leave where they were at and said, I see your vision. I see your, what you have going over there. And sometimes it makes me I question their judgment.
Right. You're like, what am I doing? I'm questioning what I'm doing.
Yeah, I have a question of what you're doing.
Yeah.
No, you sure you want to do this? No, but that's the team really collaborates well because we're very cohesive because we've known each other.
Yeah.
And I'm a truly blessed man. I don't know why or how I deserve it, but my team is a large portion for my success.
Gotcha.
And we've just really collaborated because we've worked together, we've known each other, and it was a mutual understanding of the greater vision, the greater good.
Is there anything that stands out to you at this time that you might have done wrong from a practice sort of building standpoint, or even just relating to your team? And what is that, and what could you have done differently?
I feel as if I can always be a better leader. You know, I'm a man. I'm a flawed man. I have my faults. There are definitely instances where I should have stepped up and been a better leader. You know, either set a better example as far as the decision that was made. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback it. You know, it really is. But you know, looking back, there's decisions that I've made that when I look back, it was like, you know, maybe that wasn't a good example for the team. You know, maybe I should have, you know, been there more for some of my teammates when they had, you know, some things going on. You know, I have a family at home, you know, and so sometimes I get caught up in the practice and myself, and sometimes I don't take a step back and make sure that I'm fully there for each one of my team members. That can be difficult, but it's necessary.
Is there a specific example that you could potentially share?
Repeat the question just one more time so I can make sure I said it right.
About something that you could have done differently from a practice standpoint, whether it involves leadership or whether it involves projection and planning, you know, ability to scale or not. Like, what are something that you thought that you got wrong in the process, and retrospectively, what would you have done differently?
Well, I can look back and say I picked up way too many cases early on because I was terrified. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And some of those first cases did not get the best legal service, but thankfully I was able to hire more people. And, you know, I didn't really have a plan. You know, we're only getting the plan together, you know, this past year. You know, I wouldn't say it was wrong, though. You know, it probably could have been handled better. I could have had more efficiency. I mean, right now we're still putting in place the duties and responsibility of each job title.
Gotcha.
That's something that obviously should have happened. However, because of the relationship that I have with my team, we get together and we get it done. And so I wouldn't, and again, I don't want to say there's nothing you know, but a specific example says where I did it wrong. I definitely could have did a lot of things better. But it's worked out for me. So I don't want to say, you know, anything was necessarily wrong. But it definitely could have been done better.
You know, I like your response because I am of the mindset that, you know, I don't like to use the word failures. I like lessons. You know why? Because in each, you know, let's say activity or opportunity, whether you choose left or right, there is a lesson to be learned. And sometimes we have the greatest intention of things going a certain way, and the decisions we make result in the direction going opposite. But did you not learn something from the process? And that learning, I think, is valuable. It's not nothing. And if you've come out of a situation learning something, then that's a plus. Like, there's no way that I will let my mind look at that and go into this state of I failed. No, I learned, because that lesson that you've now extracted is now helpful in the next challenge that you face.
No,
right?
I think in everything you do, I hope you learn from it. If you're not learning from it, I don't know what you're doing. You know, whether it's a success or a failure, I hope that everybody learns from every single action they take. You know, my mom had a saying, it was live and learn, some people just live. And my dad had a better one. It said, not how you screw up, it's how you recover. So I
Those
try
are
to
absolute
find something
gems.
in everything.
Absolute
so if you're
gems.
not learning, something's wrong. Then you're not trying.
Yeah. Tell me about your current family. So you're married with a daughter, right?
Correct. Yep.
I've met your daughter. She's beautiful, by the way.
She really is.
She's a gem.
She kind of looks like me, but I don't look like that.
She's an absolute gem. Tell me about, you know, how did you meet your wife, and give me the backstory.
So I met my wife. I took a nationwide tour as far as the different universities. Started at UNLV, then went to Coastal Carolina for a year, and then finished off at the University of South Carolina. My first year at South Carolina, I met my wife at a fraternity party. She thought my name was Steve. And, you know, we went on a date, and then I went to a band party thing, and then, you know, that was probably 15 years ago. We've been married 12 years now. Or we're coming up on 12 here shortly. And, you know, it's funny, I actually lived with her parents while she was finishing her master's. I was trying to get in-state residency at Georgia State. So
nice.
she was finishing at South Carolina.
And you were living with
I'm living with my now in-laws. That was awkward. But I was bartending at the Longhorn up the road, too.
Oh, my gosh.
And they got into Georgia State, and then she's private practice counselor now.
Gotcha.
She was a social worker coming
Yeah.
up, but we waited to have Clara until just a couple years ago. So I got the 2-year-old
Yeah.
daughter, loving life right now.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but there's no place I'd rather be. Which is why we say I got something wrong. I'm like, I don't know if I got anything wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's all meant to be.
Amen.
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 I hate to say I don't want to be like, I'm a perfect person.
No. But,
yeah.
but I think you're saying it right, though. I think that's actually correctly stated, right? Because if you look at it with the mindset that you learned, then it's not something wrong because you still benefited from the experience. Now, how would you say you make big decisions? Is it data driven? Is it gut feeling, or is it both?
It's a little bit of both. Probably more instinctive and than data driven.
Yeah.
I'm of the mindset that you see so many people on their deathbed saying, "I wish I would have done this.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done that." You don't hear people really say, "I wish I wouldn't have."
Yeah.
So I've always been the believer of, you know what?
Do it.
Let's do it. We'll learn from it at the end if we do. If it all goes to crap.
I love
it
that.
will be a learning lesson. So
I absolutely
that's
love
really,
that.
if there's an opportunity that in my heart of hearts I think is
Right.
something to go for, like that show,
Yes, go
do
for
it.
it. I like that. I really, really like that. One of the scariest things that I think about a lot is, as people are laying, on their backs, looking up, prepare, at the moment when the curtain is preparing to close. I think we'll all get there at some point.
It's inevitable, absolutely.
We're all going to get there. At that point, people say, your life's going to flash before you, but at that point, I really believe that the agony that most will face is the decisions that they could have made but didn't make, or the ones that they wanted to make, but for whatever reason, for fear, for that person's influence or that person's influence changed the course of what they could have done. And here they have gone through life and like a leaf in the wind, tossed around, but not really asserting or not really letting their purpose, their presence, their decisions really come through and occupy the role that they were put here to occupy. I think that might be one of the scariest things, to think that you've lived, you've occupied, but you didn't really live.
And I will. That will not be said about me. I assure you that.
But man, I know that for a fact. I think we're like, we're very much alike in that way, in that sense. I'm a big doer, and let me figure it out. If it doesn't work, I pivot, and I keep it moving. But always on the move, always doing something, always growing, always aspiring, always trying. Because when we stop, I believe that's when, we die. And die as in not physically, but you die as a person. You can still be up and about walking around, but you're dead because you have your will to reach, your will to aspire, your drive to accomplish, is gone. And I think between you and I, that might never be the case.
I sure hope not. That's for sure.
Right?
Yeah. Well, so I worked 10 years in the
Yeah.
restaurant industry, coming up through school and whatnot. And they, restaurants say every year they better be doing better than the previous
Yeah.
year, because if you're not growing, you're dying.
You're dying. Yeah, absolutely. If you had to, at this point, look back, like when you were growing up, and the challenges that you had to overcome as a child, what would you say? Can you draw on any of the challenges that you faced as a child that you currently still utilize those lessons to this day? And what would those be specifically? Or
I
any
mean,
of those?
yeah, failure, don't be
Yeah.
afraid of it.
Yeah.
That was a big part for me. My
Did you
parents
fail
being
as a
military. Yeah, oh, absolutely.
How so?
So I was very timid. I'll get a little personal, just so you know. Like, my parents had issues being 100% disabled veterans, and not once but twice. I was actually taken away, like a warden of the state. Like, I lived in a damn shelter home growing up, and then as I got older, I acted out and did stupid things. I didn't get to graduate high school. I got sent to alternative school because I was a bad kid, just because of fear, and either acting out or just failure.
Yeah.
And so I live by that on a daily basis. Like, I made it this damn far. There's no reason I can't keep going. And so I look back at my childhood and the issues that I had, the issues my parents had, and then the issues subsequently I did because I was young and dumb.
Yeah.
And, I take that to heart, the lessons that I learned, as far as the being afraid of failure and just being stupid, just, do the right thing, make the right decisions, and don't be afraid, not necessarily to screw up, but don't be afraid to fail.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing, by the way.
I appreciate that, yeah.
No, it's moments like these, humanize us. But it also, these are probably the most relatable moments because, there are a lot of people, who might not have the exact same experience, but are having similar challenges or who've had similar challenges and just not being able to vocalize it because it's still, the hurdle, the pain, the challenge, it's still there. Right? It still cuts deep. Now, given that you've gone through, you've overcome, and now that you have a child, how will that past experience shape your now parenting?
Well, she's going to be spoiled, unfortunately. I hate to say that. No, I mean, I want to be there, when thinking about our talk today and stuff, and I know we were talking some of the stuff, one of the things that I struggle with as far as being a successful individual, successful business operator, is that I want to be there for my daughter, and it's so hard, it's such a difficult thing to juxtapose is, truly be there for my daughter, but at the same time grow the business so that way I can provide for her even better down the road. That's it's definitely it's a fine line to walk, and I will be there for my daughter come hell or high water. It's just having to deal with both the business and the family is very, very difficult.
Yeah. I struggle with the same thing too. Try to make sure that I provide, having not been the most fortunate, provide as best as I possibly can. I feel like it's my overreaching responsibility to make sure that I have 3 girls, to make sure that they have the best, they have access, they're not in any way disadvantaged. And it's a challenge, but it's a commitment that I make every day, knowing that I've been through, and for them, I'm going to do my best to make sure that they have the best foot starting this race. And so that resonates with me. Is there anything that, as we wrap up, that people assume because they see you, they see your success, they assume, oh yeah, that's easy for him, but it takes a lot of energy to do that or to execute that. What might that be, or those things be?
I mean, hell, everything just about.
Yeah. just
They see the white guy driving the pickup. They assume I must have had it made. But no, I mean, people see this, the success the law firms had.
Yeah.
They see the success of my wife and I. Like, hell, that's a struggle right there. Being married 12 years, I understand you're 20 something.
26.
Man, this stuff is not easy, bro. But just the law firm itself. It seems like it comes easy because everybody looks at social media nowadays, and like nobody's posting the real stuff on social media.
No,
it's all
the perfect
great
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't realize the hard work, the long hours. I'll wake up terrified about a case like, oh my goodness, did I screw this up? Did I because if we screw something up, it's somebody's life we screwed up. And they don't see that, the practice of law is not easy. Just like the practice of medicine. I'm sure you absolutely, struggle with that. And so, it's hard to point down one thing. I would say just about everything that I do, even, with my daughter. We potty training this weekend. Yeah. That is not easy, bro. This is a great sort of,
way to tie up this segment. A lot of people see the success, they see the final product, but there is not a true appreciation for the journey. And I think that's where the true sort of, you truly understand people when you look at the journey. Because the journey really is what makes and breaks people. It puts you in places where you make some of the most challenging, decisions, some of the most, tough times that you face is in the journey. Building character comes through the journey, right? Building stamina comes through the journey. Building that mental fortitude and that stick-to-itiveness, it all comes from the journey. But like you rightly said just now, people, they gravitate, they look at the final product, which is what they see on social media. And I think it's somewhat deceptive because it's difficult. Marriage for that many years, it's not easy. It's a daily commitment. It's a renewed commitment every day you wake up that we're going to do this, right? Come what may, right? Given the differences, the disagreements, the challenges, we're going to push through. Practice. Things are not always together. Sometimes things are just so chaotic, but you know what? I'm going to stick through this. I'm going to get it done, right? Because I committed to this path and I'm not one to give up. Again, it takes the real people to push through real challenges to get real results. I appreciate you coming on today, Clark.
That's right. And the journey's what makes you. It makes a person, it makes a man. And honestly, looking back, you don't realize how much fun that journey can be. It's not fun at the time, but looking back,
retrospectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I tell you, man, we have more to talk about. We have more sessions to do. And, we have a lot more coming on the horizon. I believe that, we're going to double back on that reality show that we talked about from before. There's a reason why it came up. And I think we need to just figure that out and make it happen. Clark, it was a pleasure having you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I greatly appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
Yes, sir. Until next time.
All right.
Thank you.